Medical billing.
Medical billing as a business. Welcome back to my channel. So this is the second video of my 10-part series, how to start your own medical billing business. My next video is going to go into the EMR billing systems you should be using. So subscribe so you don't miss that upcoming video. By now, we all know what medical billing is, but you probably don't know what medical billing as a business entails. By the end of this video, you will know what medical billing is. You will learn the difference between RCM, which is revenue cycle management, and medical billing, the function detail of each step in the RCM cycle, how you can create a business offering individual cycle steps, what the pros and cons are to you offering individual cycle steps to your clients, and what you can charge for each cycle step. So let's talk about it. The following steps are a part of that cycle: pre and patient registration, eligibility and benefit check, data entry and patient demographics, referral and authorization, medical coding, medical billing, charge posting, claim submission, clearinghouse denials, payment posting, denial management, secondary filings, AR, which is accounts receivable, appeals procedure, patient billing. Depending on who you ask, there are more or less steps, but I covered the important ones. And I will also talk about 2 added bonus steps outside of the cycle that you can also turn into profitable businesses, and those are credentialing and analytics. You are probably watching this video because you are interested in starting a medical billing business. I suspect the more research you do about this business, the more overwhelmed and unsure you are growing about your ability to do it. Well, that's because many of you don't know that you don't have to offer the full cycle to start and run a successful and financially profitable medical billing business. Now, I'm sure that I just confused everyone, but how can I own a medical billing business is probably what you're asking if I don't do medical billing. Because the American healthcare industry recognizes medical billing as the official term for all of the individual steps in the RCM cycle. If you call any hospital in the United States and you ask to speak to anyone who manages any part of the revenue cycle, the operator will transfer you to the, wait for it, the medical billing department. So you can't escape the umbrella of medical billing, no matter what individual services and steps you are offering to your clients. Medical billing as a business is very broad, and you can literally go in so many different directions in this industry. And the good news is, there is more than enough space available for all of the different directions you may want to go. So by the end of this video, you will understand what medical billing as a business is and where in the cycle your future business might best fit. You might have heard medical billing referred to as revenue cycle management, or RCM. As an employed biller or coder, you most likely report to a revenue cycle manager. You are not doing RCM unless you are managing the whole entire cycle. Patient registration. The actual patient registration is done by the front desk rep who answers the phone and schedules the appointment. This rep will upload any and all information like insurance information, address, and once the patient shows up for their first appointment, this person will also copy the physical back and front of the ID cards and the insurance cards and uploads that into the system. Eligibility and benefit check. The eligibility and benefits will be checked by the eligibility rep and what benefits the individual policyholder has under their plan. So not all benefits are equal. Some plans will cover mental health, some do not. Some plans cover physical therapy, others do not. Some plans cover general medical care, which is what most of us have, and some only cover catastrophic or emergency medical care. This step, the benefits and eligibility step, finds out if your insurance will cover the cost of the specialty you are making an appointment for. So if you're showing up to a podiatrist, this check will find out if your insurance will cover podiatry care. It will also find out if you are in-network or out-of-network. Data entry and patient demographics. Traditionally, the same person who initially registers the patient will also complete the intake and demographics. Unless the same person does all 5 of the initial steps, This step will likely be done at a different time, and it will have to be revisited in order to be done completely. Referral and authorization. The authorization rep will contact the insurance payer and make sure they will approve the specific medical care for patient needs. This is different from checking coverage and benefits. This step will get approval from the insurance company for specific procedures and surgery that the patient will need. So eligibility and benefits will say, yes, you can see a chiropractor for your back, but authorization makes sure that they get approval from the insurance company that the doctor can perform certain procedures that need extra care, like spinal decompression, for example. Medical coding. A medical coder will code the treatment the practitioner gives to the patient. So the coder needs the doctor's notes to find out the correct code for each step of the treatment. For example, if the doctor repairs a broken arm by giving the patient a pain shot and then a cast, the doctor will write in his notes that he did that, right? He'll just say, I did this and that and that. The coder will have to read the notes, look through their coding book, and match the codes to what the doctor wrote in his notes. So the codes will look something like this. Let's say it says 99284, 5996372, 73090, 26 2912525 Q4018. Crazy, right? That sounds confusing. But these codes tell the insurance company the story of what happened. So this story is told in codes so that the claims can be processed quickly.
Is that
the clearinghouse?
Yeah.
Do you always look at it and code it?
Well, you have to. The image translators work for the construct program. But there's way too much information to decode the matrix. You get used to it. I don't even see the code. All I see is blonde, brunette, redhead.
I don't have a coding book in front of me, so this will be a rough interpretation, but to an insurance company, the claim will read something like this. An adult came into the ER in extreme pain with what appeared to be a broken arm. I then gave the patient an injection of pain medicine, and later that night, I sent the patient to get an x-ray. When I got the x-ray back and I looked at the results, I determined the arm was indeed broken. I then applied a cast. It's a story of what happened, but instead of getting told with words, the doctor tells it to the insurance company in code. Or I should say the coder tells it to the insurance company in code. Medical billing. Medical billing is a process that involves submitting claims for the health care services that the practitioner provides to the patient. So, medical coding is distinct from medical billing, but most medical billers will do some coding. I know I do coding all the time, though I'm not a coder, but rarely will a coder ever perform medical billing. Most practices will only employ a medical biller who has to do everything, including coding, to the best of their ability. And in that, medical billers will charge posting. A biller will collect and post timely billable claims to the system, submit the claim, which is claim submission. The medical biller will submit the claim to the insurance provider via the clearinghouse. And we're going to talk about the clearinghouse in the next upcoming video. Clearinghouse denials. Once the medical biller submits the claims to the clearinghouse, the claims are separated in the clearinghouse and sent to different insurance companies. But sometimes the claims get rejected or denied inside of the clearinghouse before they even get to the payer, and they cannot be sent to the insurance companies because of that. So the claim rejections occur when the clearinghouse or the payer stop a claim from entering their processing system. This is typically due to missing or incomplete, outdated, or incorrect information included in the claim. So in your own system, it will do as much scrubbing as it possibly can. But once it gets to the clearinghouse, there's another layer of scrubbing that happens. And if something is off, you have the wrong payer ID, the wrong address, the wrong zip code, the clearinghouse will deny it. Many people miss these denials and they're like, how come I keep sending my claims to Cigna and Cigna keeps telling me they didn't get the claim? Well, most likely it has been stuck in the clearinghouse where it was rejected and it's just sitting there waiting for you to fix it. And many people, you would be surprised, do not know that they have to go into the clearinghouse and clean up this layer of denials as well. Payment posting. Once the insurance company responds to the practitioner's office with either a payment or a denial, the payment poster can start applying the payment to the patient's account. The office receives something called ERA, which is an electronic remittance from the insurance company. Your doctor's EMR, which is the system that they use when they check you out and send your claims, that system will automatically post the ERA to the patient account. But some information won't post automatically sometimes. And that information that won't post automatically will require the payment poster to manually post the payment to the individual patient's account. This doesn't happen all the time, but it happens enough where if you don't keep up on it, it can pile up on you. If you get a bunch of denials, most of them will post automatically, but you may need to manually post some of these as well if the system fails to do so for whatever reason. Denial management. Denial management is the process of investigating each denial, finding the root cause of why each claim was denied, analyzing the denial trends to uncover a trend by one or more insurance carriers, and redesigning or re-engineering the process to prevent or reduce the risk in the future. So I always talk about certain payers will automatically deny claims and then request documents like additional information. And they do this just automatically because they know that if they overwhelm a clinic with it, you won't necessarily get all the documentation to them on time and they can permanently deny the claim. It's just something they do. So the denial management is when you investigate this and you can go, oh, okay, Cigna's trying it, or oh, United Healthcare is just denying everything. It's a process of figuring out what the insurance company is trying to do and then going on your end and trying to figure out how you can stop them from doing that to you in the future. Secondary filings. When billing for primary and secondary claims, the primary claim is sent before the secondary claim. Once the primary payer has remitted on the primary claim, which means they've answered, they've either paid or they've denied, you will be able to send the claim onto the secondary payer. So your system will usually do this automatically if the initial payment posting is done correctly. So what that means is if you have two insurances, let's say you're a child and you're insured under your father and your mother. So whoever is the primary insurance carrier, let's say it'll be your father, they'll do your procedure. They'll then bill your father's insurance. Your father's insurance will either pay or deny. If they pay, they're most likely going to pay partially. Then that balance is then sent to your mother's secondary insurance for a complete payment. So that's the process of secondary filings. AR, accounts receivable. Medical accounts receivable refers to the outstanding reimbursement owed to the providers for issued treatments and services. So whether that financial responsibility falls to the patient or to their insurance company, that money is owed to the doctor. So when you work your AR, you are investigating and clearing up any issues so that your office can be paid. This will include the appeals procedure, submitting appeals to the insurance company. So if you're getting denied and you've done everything right, that you thought you've done everything right, and for some reason the insurance company is denying, then you'll have to issue appeals and you'll have to write and provide additional information. And that is time consuming, but that's a part of working your AR. Patient billing. So this is the part where everything is paid by the insurance company and now the patient's portion is still owed. So this is you collecting from the patients and or writing off charges that cannot be collected. So sometimes once everybody pays their portion, you'll need to write off the remaining balance, which is a part of your contract. So you agree in your contract to write off some things sometimes, and you'll write that off just so that your accounts are free and clear. Now the patient owes $0, they can continue to get care. Your doctor's books are balancing. So AR is that whole entire process of cleaning up the records for your practice. So these are not a part of the actual cycle, but they're bonus cycle steps, okay? Analytics and credentialing. And I guess you could say analytics is part of the process because it involves reports. But what I'm talking about is not just going through the reports and reading them as a overall revenue cycle manager or biller, but analytics. So a healthcare analytics specialist may handle automating internal and external reports, creating executive level dashboards, and presenting information to help hospital executives and others understand the operational impact of the data. Now, there is a specific certification for this. You can go to the AHIMA or AAPC and get the certification to become an analytics specialist. They make very good money. We're all analytics specialists in our own way when we're in the medical billing industry, but this is more of a specialized training to really tell the story of what is happening in an organization. And that is something that you can do separately as a separate business. Credentialing. Now, credentialing is something that happens before anything can happen. Credentialing is the process of verifying a provider's qualifications to ensure that they can provide care to patients. Most healthcare insurance companies require this process, including CMS, Medicare, and Medicaid, and commercial plans as well. And hospitals definitely do, as well as surgery centers. This is a time-consuming process. Oh, it's time-consuming, which is why in my medical billing business, I don't even offer it. Go get it somewhere else. It's so time consuming. But a good thing about it being so time consuming is it's a business opportunity for you to offer this and to charge a good amount. So that'll need to be done before medical care can be given. Now, credentialing is wide ranging. You need to get everything credentialed. If a person wants to start a clinic, they have to be personally credentialed and their staff has to be credentialed. They need contracts with insurance companies. They need contracts with Medicare. They need contracts with Medicaid. So before they can even start to provide care, they need to get their credentialing done. Now, let's talk about the pros and the cons of separating your services for your new business. Many of your potential clients will already have a billing department in place, and the providers may be reluctant to change the whole department. So that gives you an opportunity to make your services and your business as something like an assistant or a temporary add-on to help the current team and to take the pressure off the existing team. This is something that, if done well, you could really use to your advantage so that you can just say, hey, we're not here to take over. We're just here to assist. Your team is overwhelmed. This is what we offer. We can get that cleaned up for them. Okay, so that is a great way to get in the door because it's a very low pressure situation for the group. And just to be able to add your services as like a vendor, and you're just there as someone that's there to help, that can be very easy to get in sometimes. That can be an easy contract for you if done correctly. Now, the cons come in when you don't properly explain what you will do and what you won't do. So many practices will hire you and they'll think that you're taking over a bigger chunk than you actually are. So you will find yourself in a situation sometimes, I know I have, and I know that I explain, I think I do a pretty good job of explaining, but I have found myself in certain situations where a potential or a new client thought I was going to do more than I agreed to. So you will get hit with things like, hey, why are my claims getting denied due to no auth checks, right? And so they may think, oh, well, you said you're doing eligibility and benefit checks. So why are my claims getting denied for no auth? Those are two different things. So you want to make sure that that is clear, and that can be a huge con for you if you don't make that very clear to your potential clients. So your marketing and your wording and the contract needs to be clear so that you don't make problems worse for the practice due to misunderstandings. So you can easily make 6 figures doing credentialing, AR collection and cleanup, coding, billing, and analytics. So for those, you could easily make 6 figures. If you want to split off and do something different like payment posting and benefits and eligibility, you're not going to make as much money. 6 figures is probably not in your near future, but a good living, as if you were making probably $30, $40 an hour, that's probably where you'll be if you're offering some of the smaller sections of or portions of the cycle. But as far as credentialing, AR, coding, billing, and analytics, if you just offer any one of those things, you can definitely make 6 figures. So you'll want to understand that if you offer these services separately, you've got to know that you are blazing your own path because many billing companies offer everything, right? They're RCM. They offer RCM and analytics and consulting and retraining. Many of your competitors will be offering everything. So if you're going to go the separate route, just know you're pretty much blazing your own path. You're going to have to figure out in terms of your marketing and your pitching why a company should go to you for this separate help instead of going to a bigger company for an all-inclusive solution. So in order for you to get companies to use you for this one thing, you must create your original marketing, your pitch. You have to get yourself in front of these people because you are going to be doing something that is very different. Many of your competitors are offering the full suite and much more that don't really include medical billing. They're offering consulting and retraining and analytics and all kinds of things. So you're going to be blazing your own path here. And as long as you're ready to do that and you understand that you need to make it very clear and kind of create the reason why they should be using you as a separate service instead of another company that could use a full suite, then you'll be prepared for the challenges that will be ahead of you. If you separate these services, it allows you to get many more clients than if you were to offer full services, right? So that's a good thing. You're going to get many, many more because you're only doing one thing. And that's always a pro. It allows you to become an expert in that area. Okay, so now that you know what the steps in the billing cycle are, you can decide what services you want to offer. I recently received a message via LinkedIn from a certified medical coder who was interested in starting a coding business. And I'm going to show you what he wrote and what I wrote in response. So I received this message on LinkedIn, and basically he wanted to know how he could start a medical coding business. And I pretty much said, you can do it separately, but just make sure that you are not opening holes in your clients' accounts because they fail to realize that you're only going to do coding for them. Make sure that in your marketing and your language and your agreement with the payer that all I'm doing is the coding. I'm not doing anything else. So make sure all of those holes are plugged. Biggest thing I can tell you guys is don't make things harder for your clients by failing to communicate what you are and are not going to do for them. Now let's talk about what you could make doing this. Now remember, all of this is subjective. I am not everywhere in the country, so I don't know what everyone is charging, but this is just a general idea of what you can charge for these services. And of course, always try and do the best work you can so that you can raise your prices. AR collection. So AR collection is a money maker. You can actually make more money specializing in AR. I would say 98% of healthcare practices in the United States need AR help. And they will lose that money to Timely. Absolutely. 100% they're going to lose most of the AR that is sitting in their accounts every year. That Timely ticks and it's gone. I say about 98%. Okay. So if they don't get help from the outside, they cannot collect that AR. They can't clean it up because their internal billers are already overwhelmed. They don't have the time to go back and fix this AR because they're just trying to deal with the tidal wave of daily claims and problems that they're facing every day. So I would say you can charge anywhere between 10% or 10 to 15% of collections because AR is such a high effort and tedious job. And it includes claim correction and resubmission. So you're going to have to go in and correct those claims, resubmit those claims. You're going to have to do the appeals process, which means writing appeals and collecting records and reasons why it should be paid. That appeal process can go 1 to 2 to 3 times. So you'll have first level of appeal, second level of appeal. You'll got to talk to nurses, all kinds of things. Then once you get the money, you'll have to post the payment and settle the account, write off the extra, post the payment, clear it out. And anywhere you can expect anywhere from 5 to 15 phone calls per issue in order to clear it up. And if you are in the medical billing industry, you know those phone calls can last anywhere from 20 minutes to an hour, holding, trying to figure it out. So it's a very, very time consuming process, which is why you can charge so much money. Coding. So you can code for a doctor at a set price. Okay, so you can say, normally I would make about $25 an hour as a coder. So I'm going to charge all my clients probably $40 an hour because they don't have to pay for my insurance and they don't have to pay for my employee tax. And then I'm going to have multiple clients working in that way, where I charge an 8-hour day at $40 an hour, and that's their monthly bill. You can offer coding consulting and figure out if they're using all the codes that they can be using. So that's a separate consulting service that you can offer. You as a coder might go, hey, I know for this particular procedure, you could probably add this, and this and get paid kind of double for this appointment. And obviously, it's just you suggesting it to the doctor and the doctor deciding whether or not, oh, okay, I can add this treatment into my normal plan, and that will increase my revenue. So because you understand codes that they could be using, it's a valuable asset to let the doctors know, hey, I see that you're only doing this, and this, but did you know that if you added on this follow-up or this type of service, or if you just simply did this, you could increase each claim by $75. So all of these things that you can do with coding can be offered in a package, or you can offer it separately. So you can have brand new clients every day where they just come in for for you to analyze their records and see if they're using all their correct codes, and you just charge them a flat fee. Or you take the coding and you add all of that in for a set hourly price, and you charge them monthly for it. I would offer an analysis of codes that they use and what they should be adding. So if you're offering the consulting service where you're just going to look through all of their records and look through all of their codes and say, hey, you're actually missing these codes, you should take these codes away, you should add these codes. Now, obviously, it's up to the doctor. They have to be giving this treatment, and they have to make sure the treatment is what they want to do or what is appropriate. So they can say no or yay. All you're doing is just giving them options to say, hey, if you just add in this extra piece of treatment that you're missing, you could add more revenue to each appointment. And the doctor may look at that suggestion and go, no, I don't need to because I don't feel like that is needed for what I do. Or they can go, wow, I should have really been adding that anyway. So it's up to you. And I think that each of these packages or each of these consulting services where you do this analysis of what their coding is looking like and what they should be doing, you can charge anywhere between $1,500 to $3,500 per analysis, depending on the size and the specialty of the practice. Because at the end of the day, if you fix or add or adjust their coding that increases their revenue, what is $1,500 to $3,500 per analysis to a doctor's office? Nothing. Understand that you are dealing with a lot of competitors from overseas that may charge anywhere between 2 to 3, maybe 4% of collections. But as a stateside company, I suggest you charge 7.5 to 10%, anywhere in between there, of collections for your clients when you are offering billing. So understand that when people sign up for a billing contract, in their mind, they're thinking about RCM. So be prepared to offer RCM, which is revenue cycle management, the whole shebang. That's pretty much what you're really going to be dealing with in terms of the need or requirement for many of your clients. So do you see why I say AR alone? You kind of can make more money doing AR alone than doing billing. And don't get me wrong, you're not going to work less doing AR. So what do I mean by that? How am I not working less when all I'm offering is AR, but you're telling other people when they offer billing services, they're offering pretty much RCM? Well, this is kind of hard to explain, but I'm going to try my best. AR is something that overwhelms pretty much all practices in America. It overwhelms it. If the billing department is going to work their AR, they're literally going to need to double their efforts. So what happens is many people just do not do anything with their AR. Most clinics, you're going to find their AR is suffering. It's not being worked. They can't because the billers are overwhelmed. So when you take over AR, you're not doing less than the billing company. The billing company most likely, or the internal billing department is most likely just neglecting the AR. They're not doing it at all because they're overwhelmed. So when you take over an AR, you're going to work that all day, 8 hours a day. You're working straight through. However long that contract lasts, 6 months to a year to clean it up. You're literally not doing less work. You're simply doing work that the internal billing team is just not doing at all because it would double their efforts. So When I say you're doing about the same amount of work as if you had a billing contract, you are, because AR really just tips it over for most clinics in America. And that's why I say you're not going to do less work. You're going to do the same amount of work. You're just doing different things. But because AR is so tedious and time consuming, and that money pretty much is almost guaranteed to be lost because the internal team can't even work it, it's easier to charge that much money, 15%, 10 to 15% of collections, because they're going to lose it anyway. So they might as well pay you 15%. And analytics. So healthcare analytics refers to the use of the vast amount of collected data to provide organizations with actionable insights. So these insights are developed through analytical disciplines that drive fact-based decision making. So basically, it's just reviewing the numbers and the analytics and the reports, and then telling the practice what it should be doing, using those numbers to better their practice. Okay, so this is something that there's a separate certification. You can go to the AHIMA or AAPC and get the certification. Analytics employees, healthcare analytics reps, they make anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 a year, depending on the city. So if you're making that as an employee, you can really pretty much double that if you're doing it as a consultant. So if you're just hopping around from clinic to clinic and you're really teaching them how to do this or analyzing their numbers for them, you can do that independently, or you can get a nice job doing it as an employee. I really think analytics, it's your world. It really is your world, and you can charge what you want for that skill set. Literally billions of dollars are lost in the healthcare industry. So if you can translate that analytic career into a consulting career, it's your world, boss. It's your world. Now that we've kind of gone over medical billing as a business and how you can make money for it and how you can separate these services, you guys know the drill. You can schedule a private call with me if you want to get some private mentoring. So my links are in the YouTube page and in the description box, as well as my website, which is thejadedmedicalbiller.com. You can also look at my linked tree down in the description box to get links to courses if you want to become a certified medical biller, or if you want to start your own medical billing business and take your medical billing business startup course, which will have marketing tips and sales tips and scripts, and it'll just go over how to completely start your own medical billing business from scratch. So this is going to be the year 2022. Let 2022 be the year of your financial independent journey. And remember, my next video, we will be discussing the clearinghouse and the EMR, mainly billing systems that you really should be using when you're starting out, and what is the best option for your new business. And it'll go over different price points and what these systems offer, because you're going to need a system to start your own medical billing business. So don't forget to like this video, because that really helps me out with the algorithm and I appreciate it. And subscribe so you don't miss any of the updates. Ciao.